What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And holy crap, it's been one of the craziest weeks in Destiny 2 history, and so let's get started. But just before we do, okay, I got something to show you. This is Rick Kakis, okay? Now this is mythical Rick Kakis.
How many filters are on that?
However many filters, that's not the point, okay? Now
it looks
the point
prettier than me.
of course it does, because mythical is the pinnacle. Everyone loves mythical, and you know who knows that? Today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Now, as I'm sure some of you guys know, I play a lot of Raid Shadow Legends, so I'm super excited for the introduction of mythical champions, the next step in the evolution of Raid. Literally, because these champions will evolve in front of your eyes. As you can see, they have two different forms, and each of these forms come with their own abilities and a special skill called Metamorph that can swap between the forms, giving you a massive amount of versatility when it comes to team building. However, you can only put on one set of artifacts and masteries, and that is the challenge. How are you going to build these champions? Dedicate to one form or a mix of both? But that's not all. Right now is actually one of the best times to start playing Raid. There's a new free login legendary champion, Sun Wukong. Simply log in for 7 days in a row before October 23rd and you get this incredibly meta champion. And new players can actually get a Stag Knight, one of the best epic champions that I still use, and a skin for him designed by John Tron himself. Simply use this code before October 7th. And remember guys, if you click the link down below or scan the QR code up above, you get this free starter pack with this awesome in-game loot. So what the heck are you waiting for? Start playing today. Alright, now first things first, what's been going on this week in Destiny 2? Well, as I alluded to earlier, since the last Thursday TWAB, it's been literal insanity. The entire game was turned on its head when over the weekend people discovered that you could merge different weapons to create Omega super overpowered weapons. Take an auto rifle, apply the properties of a shotgun to it, and now you have a fully automatic 30 rounds in the magazine shotgun, as you can see. Absolutely wild. And this was just the tip of the spear. Eventually, people figured out that you could apply the shotgun properties to a heavy grenade launcher and then give it mulligan, so when you would miss one of the rounds within that shotgun blast of heavy grenades, it would refund ammo, essentially giving you infinite ammo. And Bungie's response was very interesting. They basically said, hey, go for it. We don't ban people for using glitches in-game that are just part of the game. And so people went absolutely buck wild over the weekend doing raids, grandmasters. It was double Nightfall loot, by the way, going crazy. It was one of the most interesting weekends in Destiny history. In fact, as you can see right here, we saw the player numbers for Destiny 2 skyrocket by over 30,000 on Steam, just of all the people coming into the game trying to get content done and try out these insane weapon glitches. But of course, at some point, Bungie does need to fix this, and here's where things get really, really weird. So, Bungie plays with a bunch of ideas, for example, disabling the ability to use crafted weapons, and eventually they go in and disable certain perks on weapons. So, you would have a wave frame grenade launcher like the Forbearance, and it literally just wouldn't have its wave frame properties. It would act like a normal grenade launcher. So, they start doing this, people's crazy glitched crafted weapons start to be disabled slowly and surely. Others are not. In fact, up to even last night, people still had access to some pretty crazy overpowered weapons, but over the few days where Bungie is trying to fix this, the servers go to crap. As you can see from the Bungie help page, there was a lot of error codes going out and people had a huge amount of difficulty actually playing the game. In fact, here's some footage from me at the Tuesday weekly reset. I'm literally just trying to go to the helm and I couldn't for a really long time because I would get error coded every single time. And obviously everyone assumed, well, Bungie's in there tinkering with the game and everyone's walking around with 1,000 rounds per minute grenade launchers. Of course, this is going to cause some server issues. But it turns out that's not the case. In one of the biggest plot twists of all time, the servers handled 6 people with infinite ammo grenade launchers just fine, and they handled Bungie disabling weapon perks mid-game just fine, and as you can see right here, it was actually a DDoS attack that took the servers down. Now, some people have replied with some speculation saying, oh, Bungie's making this up, the servers are just going down. I don't think that's the case, because the last time we had server issues and Bungie looked really bad, they were just quiet for like a month and made themselves look even worse. So if they're out there doing that, I don't think they're gonna now come up with this crazy like plot to pretend people are DDoSing them. I think they probably actually got DDoSed, and the speculation is that someone got so mad that their infinite ammo grenade launcher was being taken away that they actually took it out on Bungie themselves and again DDoSed the entire studio and game. So that's why we were having these server issues, not because of the crafted weapons. Just wild. Now, while all of this crazy stuff was going on, at the Tuesday weekly reset, we were supposed to get the launch of the Master Difficulty Crota's End Raid. However, as you can see, due to all of the weapon crafting issues and half your arsenal being disabled and the other half being completely overpowered, Bungie did end up delaying it. And that brings us to today, with update 7.2.0.4 just going live. This has apparently completely fixed once and for all the weapon crafting issue, because even though a lot of perks are being disabled, up to last night, people still had completely broken weapons. So now if you try to combine weapons, apparently it just puts you back into the destination screen, like it just kicks you to orbit. And the Master Difficulty Crota's End Raid has gone live with the addition of this new update. In addition to that, the improved Oversoul drop rate has also gone live, so you can much more efficiently farm Essence of the Oversoul for your Necrochasm Catalyst. And then, while all of this is happening, out of nowhere, Bungie releases new gameplay showing off the new supers and aspects coming within the Final Shape expansion. So let's take a quick look at those. And first off, we have the Titan with the new Twilight Arsenal Void Super. So as you can see, you're gonna chuck 3 Void Axes at opponents. There's a little bit of an explosion where they land, and then you can go and pick up those axes and use them to smack enemies. Now, it does actually appear that you have a pretty fast smack animation, and you can see like all 3 members of the fire team taking down this PvE boss. So potentially you could do a pretty decent amount of damage with the super, because you're also gonna get the damage from throwing it, and then you can pick up an axe to kind of keep going. Now we also see the new Unbreakable Void aspect in effect here, where you are going to use up your grenade to create like a Captain America shield, basically blocking everything incoming, and then you release that shield and it will damage the enemy in front of you, as you can see. And it does even work in PvE. It doesn't do enough damage to kill this big guy, but it's actually going to like push them back, which is pretty interesting. Next up for the Hunter, we have the Storm's Edge Arc Super. So this is where you're going to throw these arc daggers, and as you can see, wherever they hit, you're going to teleport to. And obviously in PvP, you can get up to shenanigans and get inside areas very quickly that people are not expecting you to go. Now there's also the Ascension Arc aspect, and as you can see right here, it looks like this is going to propel you into the air, and it doesn't slam you back down, but an area of effect emulates from you, and nearby enemies will actually get amplified. In fact, in the footage, there is voices and you hear someone say, oh, I got amplified and I'm not even arc, so that's kind of cool. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Hunter with the Song of Flame Solar Super. So this is very similar to Destiny 1 Radiance, where you just activate it and then your abilities are improved massively. So you can see this player is still having to run around, use their weapons, all of that stuff, but their Solar Soul is actually going to be shooting out like pretty big explosions. And their melees and grenades are massively improved as well. Now, speaking of Solar Soul, that is the new solar aspect. So just like how you have an Arc Buddy and a Void Buddy, now finally you do have the Solar Buddy. Now, the shots from your Solar Buddy actually are pretty interesting. Instead of just like straight arc shots, they are going to be this one big, ball of flame that does appear to have a good degree of tracking to it as well. Alright, and with all of that stuff going on this week, that finally brings us to the brand new information within the TWAB. Now, the first thing Bungie talks about is on Tuesday, the Bungie Foundation launched a veteran-focused campaign in partnership with Team Rubicon to showcase support for those who serve and help provide humanitarian aid to communities facing crisis. So you can support this by getting the new Jumpmaster emote. As you can see right here, they say all profits from the emote available now in Eververse will be split equally between the Bungie Foundation and Team Rubicon. We also have this pin as well as the associated emblem that you can get as well. Now, moving on from there, Bungie does talk about the craziness that was the crafting issue, providing a pretty in-depth explanation into all of the issues, what was going wrong, and the challenges with actually fixing it. Now, I'm not going to go over everything in this video, so if you do want to check it out for yourself, of course, the TWAB is linked in the description of this video. Just make sure to click the Raid Shadow Legends link while you're down there. Now, after that, guys, we have deterministic recoil coming to Destiny 2. So they say starting in Season 22, which is this season, all of the following weapons with a Season 22 watermark or later, which means they came out this season or beyond, they're going to be getting deterministic recoil. So auto rifles, pulse rifles, scout rifles, submachine guns, sidearms, hand cannons, trace rifles, and machine guns. So what the heck is deterministic recoil? Well, right now, weapon recoil is completely random. So let's say you have a submachine gun, you hold the trigger and it recoils off to the right, and then you reload, you do the same thing, but now it recoils off to the left. Again, it's a randomized system. So what Bungie is doing is adding more predictability to weapon recoil, and you can see right here they actually have a little bit of a video of deterministic recoil when it's going to be implemented. So you can see this high impact frame auto rifle from Crota's End, it's going to have the same recoil pattern each time. Now there's going to be some slight variation within the recoil pattern, but this means you can learn it. You know it's going to kick off, to the right at first and then veer to the left after a certain amount of time, and it's going to do that every single time you shoot it. So if you really like a weapon, and this is especially going to matter for PvP, you can get used to that recoil and you can counter it like the same second it's happening. Other games like CSGO is a great example, have deterministic recoil, and being able to master a weapon's recoil pattern is really going to make you a very, very good player. Now, they then have a deterministic recoil Q&A saying why don't fusion rifles, shotguns, or sniper rifles get the treatment, basically saying recoil isn't a big factor within these weapons. After that, they say, does the recoil pattern only reset on a full magazine? They say no, it resets when you stop firing for long enough for the weapon to fully settle, meaning that its accuracy cone has gone back to its default resting state. Okay, that's interesting. What happens if I keep refilling my magazine while continuously firing? The implementation we've used has no upper limit to the length of the recoil pattern. For example, firing an auto rifle with Actium War Rig or another magazine refill method won't cause any weirdness. Then they have, are there any security implications to this feature? It was very important that this feature not be exploitable. Weapon Designs worked with game security on this implementation to ensure that we achieved the goal of allowing greater player mastery of weapons without allowing recoil to be predictable enough to be exploitable. And then they outline these three prioritizations when it comes to implementing this, because there are things out there like I think Zim or Cronus or one of those that can actually lower recoil of weapons, and people are already using it so that they can have zero weapon skill and still go in to a PvP environment and just laser beam you from across the map, right? So obviously with deterministic recoil, it would be even easier for these third-party programs to account for this. And it's already a bannable offense using these, but yeah, that is definitely an issue. But overall, for the vast majority of players, I think this is a great thing. Having deterministic recoil, being able to truly get used to your favorite weapons, I think, again, that's going to be fantastic. But moving on from there, Bungie weirdly has a section about seasonal secrets, saying you've been exploring the Spire so much that you've decided discovered its deeper secrets, the mystical arcane chambers where Savathûn turned trickery into power. You're free to explore, but try not to become a victim of your own curiosity. Pay extra attention as you make your way through Season of the Witch starting this week, Guardians. Some surprises are still waiting to be uncovered, and they're not all easy to spot. Like, did we miss something? Is there something crazy that went live this week, or is it just little Easter eggs? Well, maybe time to hop back into the game and try to find out. Moving on from there, however, something very exciting, a brand new exotic catalyst has just been announced for the Thorn exotic hand cannon. So you can see it right here. One of the most iconic weapons in the Destiny franchise is finally getting a catalyst, and here's what it says. Grants bonus range and stability, and you can see the bumps over in the corner, pretty substantial increase to range. Dealing a final blow or absorbing a remnant grants additional increased weapon range as well as increased mobility and handling for a short time. Now this absolutely seems geared towards PvP. Like, the Thorn is already a loved weapon for PvP. Might not be super in the meta right now, but certainly there was times it was very, very popular. This adding a huge chunk of stats and then increasing those stats even more when you grab a remnant. Yeah, the Thorn might be pretty juiced next season for PvP. Moving on from there, a couple of last fun things. Bungie released the lo-fi beats to tithe to. It's like 40 minutes of Destiny music with Eris just vibing out, so you can check that out. And they have a section about the actual actress playing Eris and the stuff that they did to actually make her performance within the game, so pretty neat there. Now moving on from there, we have some new Amazon Prime gaming rewards. You can see them right here. We have the Consult the Archives exotic emote, Curse of Foresight exotic sparrow, Edge of the World's legendary ship, and the Methane Explorer legendary shader. And so guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.